Have you ever realized that many of our tired days aren't because we're overworked, but because even when we come home, we still have to navigate around our own belongings? A shirt saved for someday, a gift we think we might need, boxes whose contents are long forgotten. Each item is small, but together they create a silent noise. If our room is a mirror of our mind, then perhaps what truly exhausts us isn't a lack of time, but a lack of space to breathe. The Japanese ask a very simple question before each item. Does this still serve my life today? This question isn't judgmental, it simply opens a door. When the answer is no, they say thank you and let the item go. An act as gentle as releasing a leaf onto a stream. To them, empty space isn't a void, but the background that allows what's most important to stand out. And when the visual noise subsides, you'll be surprised to find the kettle's whistle sounds clearer, the evening feels quieter, and your mind, strangely, becomes clearer. This video isn't just about cleaning or organizing. It's a journey to understand why the Japanese don't hold on to useless things. From the habit of living in small spaces, to the philosophy of appreciating an object's true value, to the belief that less can create enough. Enough quiet, enough clarity, enough focus. You'll see how they turn stillness into energy, an empty tabletop into a launchpad for new ideas, and the act of letting go into a daily ritual of self-care. And then you'll ask yourself, if I cleared just one surface, a corner of my desk, a single drawer, what would enter my life first? A meaningful conversation, a book read to the very last page, or simply 10 unhurried breaths? Stay with us until the end of the video. We won't be throwing away anything. We will learn how to keep what truly matters, so the room can learn to be silent, and our thoughts can learn to speak. Reason 1. Optimizing space, where land is scarce. Have you ever opened the door to your home, flipped on the light, and instinctively let out a long sigh? Before you were stacked empty boxes, last season's heavy coat slung over a chair, and countless items saved just in case. The warm light spills out, touching every cluttered corner, and it feels like a gentle tap on your heart. You suddenly wonder, why am I so tired even when I'm finally home? In Japan, the answer often begins in a very small place, the room itself. Most Japanese people live in modest spaces, where every square foot must justify its existence. When land is tight, they don't try to cram more in. They learn to take things away. A sliding door opens to a room with just a low table, a slender wall shelf, and a light-colored mat for the feet to feel the quiet. It's not about lack, it's about the absence of excess. The space is as still as a lake, and that very stillness supports the mind. And then, a simple truth dawns on us. Limited space forces us to be honest. Honest about what we truly need, about the rhythm of our own lives, and about the things that still warm our hearts. The Japanese have a habit of asking a small question before each object. Does this still serve my life today? The question is as light as a fingertip's touch, yet it's a doorway to our deepest selves. The once useful plastic containers, the once fashionable shirt, the decorative piece that once brought joy, they are all seen in a new light. When the answer is no, they go. Not out of resentment, but with a word of thanks before letting go. On the shelf, only a few versatile, tidy items remain. On the floor, light remains. And in our hearts, room to breathe remains. Have you noticed? When you have fewer things, the sounds in your home change. The kettle's whistle sounds clearer, the wind through the curtains feels like a cool caress, and even your footsteps become lighter. Empty space isn't just a place with nothing in it. It is a delicate frame that allows the most important things to step forward. For generations, the Japanese have called this frame ma, the pause between two musical notes, the gap between two objects, the rest between two breaths. That empty space, in a way, is also an object. It shows us what is worthy of staying. When space is just enough for the essentials, creativity awakens. Wall-mounted shelves replace bulky cabinets. Low-profile furniture lets the eyes rest. A folding table opens for dinner, then closes with a nod. Natural light becomes an old friend, a silent listener. Every object has a clear role, like musicians in a small orchestra. No noise, no showing off, just harmony and a shared melody. In a 10th floor apartment in Tokyo, I once saw a family of 3 having dinner at a low table. In the corner of the room stood a small bamboo plant. On the shelf were just 3 bowls, 3 pairs of chopsticks, and a teapot. After the meal, the table was spotless, the tea was still warm, and the window was slightly ajar. Not much was happening, but everything was just enough. That sense of enough quiets the noise in our heads, and we realize we don't have to run so fast after all. There are days we think we're tired from work, but we're actually tired from navigating around our own belongings. We say we're cleaning the house, but it turns out we're decluttering our minds. Every item that leaves takes a worry with it. Every new empty space that opens up is a breath of relief. When we stop saving things for someday, we start truly living in the now. You'll find yourself choosing more carefully. One good coat instead of 5 average ones. One solid chair instead of 4 wobbly ones. The texture of wood, the weave of fabric, the morning light. Things that seemed small suddenly find their own voice. The room is no longer full, but it becomes rich. Rich in clarity, rich in silence, and rich in deeply human connections. For the Japanese, optimizing space isn't a dry exercise in organization. It's the art of caring for the mind within the walls of your own home, keeping what is meaningful and letting go of what has served its purpose, creating a silence for life to paint upon. When the land is tight, the heart learns to expand. Right now, if you were standing in the middle of your room, what would you let go of first to make a little breathing space? Try turning off a lamp, folding up a chair, placing your hand on an empty tabletop, and listen to the silence, as thin as a sheet of paper. Perhaps, in that moment, you will meet yourself again. Reason 2. Freeing the mind. Have you ever opened a drawer at the end of the day, the kitchen light illuminating a tangle of charging cords, a few faded movie tickets, a sweater saved just in case, and suddenly realized your own mind is just as cluttered? You pause for a beat, your hand not yet touching a single thing, and hear a silent sigh rise up. Why, in my own space, do I still feel so tired? For the Japanese, decluttering never starts with the hands. It starts with the mind. When a home is filled with too many things for someday, the mind gets snagged on countless hooks of memories and intentions. Every excess item is an unclosed notification. Every messy corner is a browser tab left open indefinitely. We think we're busy because of life, but often we're busy because we're living with things that have already served their purpose. Marie Kondo asks just one gentle question: does this spark joy? The Japanese ask this not to judge, but to listen. A chipped ceramic mug, a stained plastic container, the dress that once made us feel vibrant. We hold them in our palms as if placing a relationship under the light. If the answer is no longer, we bow our heads in thanks, and then we let go. Letting go of an object is, in fact, letting go of an invisible tie. And this is when we realize, holding on to many things doesn't guarantee peace of mind. Sometimes, it's just postponing a fear, the fear of lacking, the fear of forgetting, the fear of emptiness. But empty space, ma, in the Japanese spirit, is not the enemy. It is the delicate frame that allows the most important things to become visible. When the shelves are no longer crowded, the sounds in the house also change. The pouring of water into a kettle becomes clearer, the breeze through the curtains feels softer, and our footsteps become lighter. In this simplicity, we find ourselves standing a little taller, our minds a little quieter. Many people hold on to things for fear of damaging a memory, but the Japanese see memory like a river flowing between two banks. Physical objects are the temporary bank, while the mind is the true one. We can take a picture, write a few words of gratitude, pass the item to someone who needs it more, and let the memory relocate from the shelf directly into our hearts. Memory doesn't live in objects. Memory lives in how we engage with the present. When our space demands less of us, the present moment draws closer, clearer, and warmer. In the spirit of Wabi-sabi, we learn to love what is simple and imperfect. A scratch on a wooden table becomes a quiet, low note, not something to be hidden. Kanzo, simplicity, helps us choose less, but better. One sturdy chair, one lamp that gives just enough light, a set of bowls that feel right in our hands. Each item is kept because it truly serves, because it truly brings our soul to ease. No showing off, no fear of not having enough. Less, it turns out, is the new enough. Tonight, you could try a very small ritual. Open one drawer. Choose 3 items that no longer spark joy. Place them on a table, put your hand on your heart and whisper, "Thank you." Then let them go. Donate them, recycle them, or discard them. Afterward, turn off a light and sit down. Listen to how the noise in your head subsides as one small corner is freed. Change doesn't arrive with a loud announcement, it arrives with clarity. When the mind no longer has to manage so many possessions, It has the space to love what truly needs loving. A complete conversation, a book read to the very last line, a meal enjoyed without rush. We become more focused, more gentle, less likely to reach for objects as a way to anchor ourselves. From here, a sense of security no longer comes from having enough, but from knowing what is enough. Clarity is its own kind of freedom. Letting go isn't about denying the past. It's about allowing the past to take its proper place, behind us, supporting us, instead of being scattered around our home like ropes that trip us up. When our things lessen, the mind becomes lighter. When the mind is lighter, life becomes more serene. And in that serenity, we realize a gentle truth. Peace is not found in a bigger house, but in a house that knows how to breathe. If, right now, you closed your eyes and pictured one small, empty space in your home, just the size of a clean tabletop, what would you place on it tomorrow morning? Or would you leave it empty as a quiet invitation for your mind to enter and to breathe? Reason 3, creating a quieter space for thought. Have you ever sat down at your desk in the evening only to have your gaze drift across a pile of sticky notes, a few old souvenirs, a pen that's out of ink, and a spare charging cable, and then realized your mind is suddenly filled with noise? Not a single sound was made, and yet it's deafeningly loud. Each object is like an unfinished thought, pulling at your sleeve, distracting you from what you're doing. You suddenly wonder, why, even in the silence, is it so hard to hear myself think? The Japanese understood this long ago. Our belongings don't just occupy physical space, they invade our mental space. An overloaded shelf is a wall of unread notifications. A cluttered corner of a desk is a conversation with no end. And so, in the spirit of Zen, they prioritize stillness. Space needs to breathe so that our thoughts can breathe. It doesn't take much. Just remove one extra item, move one thing that's no longer in use, and return to the room a quiet pause. A place where our attention can come to rest. You'll be surprised to realize that when the room has less noise, the mind no longer has to brace itself. We think we need iron discipline or intense focus apps, but sometimes, all we really need is a clear desk. Picture a morning in Kyoto. A paper screen door slides open, and light pours into the room like a gentle stream. On the table, there is only a teapot, a notebook, and a pen with ink. There is nothing to invite your mind to wander from the task at hand. The silence here isn't cold, it's warm. It feels like a hand placed gently on your shoulder, whispering, "Slow down for a moment and see things clearly." Many of us spend hours dusting objects we rarely touch. An empty picture frame, a collection of tin boxes, a candle that's lost its scent. And in doing so, we unintentionally feed the visual noise. Our eyes have to process too many signals. Our brains have to keep too many tabs open. We think we're tired from work, but it turns out we're tired from the silent conversations we're having with our things. We don't just declutter to make things look good. We do it, first and foremost, to find peace. In the spirit of Wabi-sabi, the Japanese embrace imperfect simplicity. A desk might have a scratch, a chair may bear the marks of time, but the overall composition is always clear. Every object has its place and its reason for being there, like a note played on the right beat. When we enter a room like this, our thoughts don't have to compete to be heard. They can simply sit down and be. Stillness isn't about chasing away sound. Stillness is the frame that gives sound its meaning. You can try a small ritual. Choose a corner that distracts you the most, your desk, your nightstand, or a windowsill. Take out 3 things you haven't used in the last 3 months. Hold them in your hands. Breathe in, breathe out, and ask softly, "Do you still serve my life today?" If the answer is no, thank them, and then let them go. Give them away, sell them, or recycle them. Afterwards, gently wipe the newly empty surface and place just one thing there, a warm pot of tea, a photo of someone you love, or a single green leaf. Then sit down, in silence, for 5 minutes. Just listen to how your mind changes when the view in front of you has changed. When our space becomes quiet, we begin to hear the subtle sounds of life. The glide of a pen across a page, the clink of a spoon against a cup, the song of a bird at dawn. Our thoughts no longer run away. They arrive, stay for a little while, and then gently depart. We plan more clearly, we work more deeply, and most importantly, we know when to stop. This is how less becomes enough, and how enough opens the door to clarity. Not everyone lives in Tokyo or has tatami mat floors, but any room can learn what the Japanese have always cherished: an appreciation for empty space. An empty space isn't a period at the end of a sentence, it's a comma, allowing our story to continue with more coherence. Having fewer things doesn't make life dull, it restores depth to what truly matters. A conversation where you look someone in the eye, an idea that has room to blossom, a night of sleep no longer troubled by exhausting dreams. Now, if you were to turn off a lamp and place your hand on a surface that has just been returned to stillness, what would you hear first? The sound of your own breathing, or the sound of your thoughts drawing near? Give yourself 10 breaths. Perhaps, in that quiet moment, you will finally find the answer that the noise has been drowning out all along. Reason 4. Making empty space for the new. Have you ever opened your closet on a rushed morning, your hand brushing past clothes saved for someday, past boxes whose contents you no longer remember, and suddenly felt like your new day was already cluttered before it even began? Light streams through the blinds, tiny dust motes dancing in the air like an old whisper. We want to start something new, but all we see in front of us are things left unfinished. To the Japanese, decluttering isn't just about gathering and discarding. It's a small ritual for opening new doors. Each time osoji, the great year-end cleaning, approaches, people don't just sweep their homes to get rid of dust. They sweep away old stories to give the room a necessary emptiness. In the spirit of Ma, this empty space isn't a void. It is the still surface of a lake, waiting for a new wind. When a space is free from old whispers, new ideas finally have the courage to speak. You'll notice this very quickly. When we reduce the clutter on the outside, our inner world opens its doors. We often demand creativity at a packed desk and with a jam-packed schedule, but a new seedling can only sprout from soil that has room to breathe. Imagine a cool afternoon in Osaka. You pull open a drawer and take out 3 items you haven't used in a long time: a scarf that's no longer your style, a notebook filled with old entries, a candle that has lost its scent. You place them on the table, whisper a quiet "thank you," and then let them go. The space that has just appeared on the shelf immediately changes the atmosphere. The light reaches deeper, your gaze is less distracted. In the silence, a small thought sparks, like a sunbeam landing on the rim of a teacup. What could I begin today? In the philosophy of Danshari, the art of refusing the unnecessary, discarding the excess, and separating from material attachment, every decision to let go is an act of opening a new door. We refuse what doesn't serve the present, we release invisible worries, and we move away from the habit of, "I'll just leave it there for now." The space instantly becomes an invitation to try a new recipe, to write a piece of music, to make a heartfelt phone call, or to simply go to bed a little earlier. If you look closely, you'll see that clutter doesn't just rob us of storage space, it robs us of living space. When every flat surface is covered, we can only set things down temporarily. Temporary ideas, temporary plans, even temporary emotions. But when there is an empty tabletop, we can put down something whole, a pristine blank page. An empty space is not vacant. An empty space is an invitation. Wabi-sabi teaches us to love the beauty of simplicity and imperfection. A ceramic vase with a muted glaze, a single wildflower stem, a plain white wall. They don't say much, but they are the perfect backdrop for new things to emerge without distraction. It's like in music. Without the rests, the next note cannot take shape. The Japanese don't add more things to feel full, they clear things away to have enough of a path. Enough of a path for the light to change direction, for footsteps to feel lighter, and for the breath to go deeper. You can start with a very small ritual tonight. Choose one corner that will be your harbor for the new, your desk, a kitchen counter, or a windowsill. Clear it until your eyes can look at it without being snagged by anything. Then, place a very specific new beginning upon it: a sketchbook, a cup of tea, or the book you're in the middle of reading. Then sit down, in silence, for 2 minutes. Let your body feel the new atmosphere, as if the room itself is extending a hand, inviting you to take the next step. When our homes are free from old words, we begin to hear the voices that have been waiting for a long time. The idea buried under a stack of papers, the apology you've wanted to give since last week, or a small desire that was obscured by the phrase, "maybe someday." We find ourselves becoming more flexible, more courageous in small ways, replacing a window pane with a light curtain, moving a desk closer to the light, or putting away a chair to widen a walkway. Each small change is a runway for something new to land safely. No one needs a huge apartment to have an expansive life. We just need an intentional empty space. There, the new isn't the next thing we're going to buy, but a different rhythm of life, clearer, lighter, and more real. Now, if you were to clear just one tabletop for tomorrow, what would you place on it first? An idea, a phone call, or simply the first deep breath of the day? Or would you leave it empty as a promise to something new, so that when the sun rises, you are the first one to step into that space? Reason 5. Avoiding being tied down by memory. Have you ever stood before a box of keepsakes late at night? Old movie tickets, a faded birthday card, a shirt from a season long past, and felt your chest grow as heavy as if it were holding an entire room. No one is forcing you to keep them, but your hand still hesitates. You're afraid to let go, as if doing so would be a betrayal of a part of your life. And yet, in the quiet yellow light, a question arises very softly. If my hands are clinging so tightly to what is past, where is the space for what is coming? In the Japanese spirit, an object is never just an object, it's a story. But every story needs an ending. The Japanese cherish memories and then they put them in their proper place, in the heart, not scattered across every shelf. Marie Kondo once suggested a simple question: does this still spark joy? That small question is a ritual of transition, from holding on to gratitude, from staying behind to moving through. We bow our heads, say thank you, and let it step out of the frame of our present moment. And this is when we realize clinging to the past doesn't make it more beautiful. It only makes the present more crowded. A room filled with memorabilia can easily cause us to live in recollection. We think we're safe, but in reality, we're just shielding ourselves from the wind, forgetting there's an entire sky. Wabi-sabi teaches us to love the beauty of transience. Flowers bloom and then wither. A ceramic glaze has a fine crack. The afternoon light changes color on the wall. Beauty doesn't need to be frozen inside objects from the past. It needs to be moved through to make way for a different kind of beauty to arrive. When we clear away these physical anchors, our minds are no longer stuck in an old story. We can stand more firmly in the present. Just like in a room, when you remove the clutter, a path suddenly appears. Many people fear that letting go is the same as forgetting. But the Japanese see letting go as a dignified way of remembering. We can keep a small token, a photograph, a written line, even just a deep breath, and let the rest go. Memory doesn't live in the object. Memory lives in how we inhabit the present after having moved through the past. When we live today to the fullest, that is the most beautiful way we can honor what has been. Imagine a clear morning in Nara. You open your closet to tidy clothes, with empty spaces that are breathing. The things that once were are no longer shoulder to shoulder with the things that now are. On the table sits a warm cup of tea. That alone is enough to quiet much of the noise in the mind. In that stillness, you finally have the space to ask, today, what truly deserves to enter my life? We keep some mementos because we fear we'll lose the feeling without them. But an emotion is a river, not a stone. The more we try to hold on to its old shape, the more we stop its flow. We can create a small ritual. Each month, choose one item tied to a memory, tell its story, write a line of thanks, take a picture, and then pass it on to someone who needs it more, or recycle it. This isn't erasure, it's transformation. We are not losing, we are simply changing the way we keep. In the rhythm of stillness, movement, stillness, the act of letting go opens up a gentle motion. Our schedule is less burdened by the need to dust unused things. Our mind is less pulled back to the old days, and our eyes see more clearly what is blossoming right now. A new idea. A friend who needs us to listen, an act of self-care. When the hands are free, the heart is free. When the heart is free, life opens up. You can try this tonight. Choose one object that was once precious, but that you haven't touched in a long time. Place it on a table under a soft light. Tell its story, just briefly. Thank it for being a part of your journey. Then ask quietly, do you still serve my life in the present? If the answer is no, let it go, like releasing a leaf onto a river. As you watch the leaf float away, you realize the river is still flowing, and so are you. No one is telling us we have to let go of everything. But if we let go in the right way, we hold on to what is most essential, the capacity to live fully in the present. And then, We can love our past in a gentler way, not with heavy boxes, but with a life that is being lived vibrantly. Now, if you were to clear one small corner for tomorrow, what would you place in it? A letter to yourself, a new plan, or just a quiet moment to breathe? Make room for the present to enter and see who knocks on the door first. Reason 6. Avoiding waste. The spirit of Mottainai. Have you ever stood before your kitchen cabinet at the end of the day, noticed a carrot starting to wilt, a glass jar with a little honey still clinging to the sides, a few plastic bags balled up in a drawer, and let out an involuntary sigh? The space is completely silent, but in your heart, you can hear the word waste echoing softly. You ask yourself, how many precious things are lying dormant right here in my own home? In the Japanese spirit, Mottainai is a gentle yet direct reminder. It is both the regret over what is wasted and the gratitude for what you have. This isn't about being stingy or strict. It's a way of seeing everything as a gift that has been shaped by the efforts of the earth and human hands. When picking up an item, the Japanese often ask themselves, has its full value been realized, or is it sitting unused simply out of the habit of just in case? And this is when we realize, letting an object become useless in our home is also a form of waste. We're not just wasting space, we're wasting the opportunity for it to serve the right person, in the right place, at the right time. Imagine a fresh morning in Yokohama. The kitchen is tidy, light pouring through the window. On the table sits an old but durable shirt, a loose seam freshly stitched. Nearby, orange peels are drying, soon to be dropped into a pot of hot tea. On the shelf, glass jars, washed clean, are waiting to be reused. There's no heavy feeling of trying to save, there's just a warm sense of appreciation for everything. Mottainai doesn't turn a home into a scrapyard. It turns a home into a place where everything gets a second chance. We get used to keeping things out of a fear of scarcity. But scarcity isn't as frightening as wastefulness. A pot with a broken handle, if repaired, can continue to cook warm meals. An old shirt you no longer wear can become a blanket for someone, somewhere else. A spare phone, left dormant in a drawer, is a piece of precious resource sealed away. We don't have to keep everything. We just need to help our things continue their useful journey, whether it's here with us or somewhere else. In the rhythm of stillness, movement, stillness, Mottainai opens up a gentle motion. We pause for a beat to look closely, and then we act with just enough intention. If it can be fixed, fix it. If not, separate the usable parts and recycle the rest. If an item is still good, but we no longer need it, let it find someone who does. True gratitude is about using things to their fullest, not holding on to them until our space is full. You can try a small ritual tonight. Open your pantry or that one miscellaneous drawer and choose 3 things that are being neglected. Ask yourself very quietly, how can I use your full value? The wilting vegetables can become a pot of soup. Scraps of fabric can become cleaning cloths. A glass jar can become a container for nuts. And if you have too much, share it with a neighbor, a soup kitchen, or a secondhand shop. With each of those decisions, you'll hear a tiny click, as if a lock has just been opened. The space feels lighter, and so does your heart. Mottainai isn't just about things, it's an attitude toward life. We learn to use our time less wastefully, turning off unnecessary notifications, dedicating a full half hour to reading a chapter instead of aimlessly scrolling. We learn to give our attention to what deserves it, being truly present in a conversation, seeing a task through to completion, cooking a meal from the leftover ingredients in the fridge. In this way, life has fewer wasteful gaps, and we live more sustainably, more peacefully. There is a wabi-sabi beauty in using things up, the mended stitch on a sleeve, the chipped rim of a cup sanded smooth to continue pouring tea, the wooden tabletop that has darkened with the years. They are not perfect, but they are not wasted. That beauty teaches us to appreciate what we already have and to quiet our endless desires. When what we have is loved, what we want naturally takes a step back. And when your home no longer has those just-in-case corners, joy becomes very tangible. Using up the last of the honey for a batch of cookies, sending a warm coat to the right person, finally fixing the squeaky chair on the balcony. Each small act is a thread that ties our life together, securely, resiliently. Now, if you were to look around and choose just one thing that's being neglected, what would you do with it tonight? Repair it, reuse it, pass it on, or say thank you and goodbye? Try clearing just one corner and then listen. In the quiet beat that follows, isn't your own breath just a little bit clearer? Before you leave this video, I invite you to try a 3-minute ritual. 1. Choose one small surface, a corner of your desk or your nightstand. 2. Take out just 3 items you haven't used in the last 3 months. 3. Say thank you and then let them go. Donate them, recycle them, or discard them. Once you're done, sit back down and listen to the brand new silence that has just appeared in your home. If you feel even a little bit lighter, that is the signal that less can truly become enough. And don't do this alone. Go down to the comments and type 333 along with the item you just let go of. Together, we can create a small corner of peace, one step at a time. If you need more motivation, try the 7-day empty space challenge. Each day, clear one surface, take a before and after photo, and share one thing you can hear more clearly in your own mind. Change doesn't have to be loud. It begins with very small decisions, repeated consistently. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe and ring the bell, so that every week we can meet again for more gentle yet profound stories about how to live with enough, with clarity, and with warmth. Share this video with a friend who might need some room to breathe. Sometimes, an empty tabletop can be the most gentle invitation to begin again. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. I'll see you in the next one, where we will continue to open up beautiful empty spaces, both in our homes and in our hearts.